right. Welcome, Oshri.
Hey.
So talk to me about hashtag JOYFOIL.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that's there's a lot to unpackage there, but I can start with the
Oh, really?
name. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So that particular word I thought of a few weeks ago. I wanted to do something in honor of my brother who kind of showed me. Well, he didn't show me how to make them, but I saw him do it when I was really little. I have a picture of my mind of these tiny foil people floating in like the bathroom sink when I was like 5, and that's like what I remember of him doing it. And then I guess I tried it and I kept doing this, and it's been, I don't know if I was 5 or 6 or what, but now I'm 33 and I still make and I think I have more fun than ever making them and putting them places. So I wanted to do it because he passed now 6 years ago, August. I wanted to do something in honor of him, and so I was talking to my friend TJ, and I was I was like, I had called because I thought maybe he would help me. He would think of an idea or something. But then as I was talking to him, I'm talking to him. I said, "Oh, what about JOYFOIL?" And it made sense, and no one had used it for anything before. So
Cool.
yeah, that's that.
So your brother would make these because he liked art projects, or he was making toys for himself, or
I don't remember. He was really creative, so he would make all sorts of things all the time. But I don't remember. Maybe he made it as toys. I literally remember him making them like one time. Like I had this picture in my mind, and I didn't see. I don't know. I didn't see how he did it, but I thought it was very cool. Um, and he would make all sorts of other stuff, but it was like I guess it was that there's that one spark of seeing that, and like, when you're small and it's your big brother, it's like everything they do is cool. So if it's something that's actually cool, then
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. That's so cool. And so you were just on the news, I saw, which was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that was fun. That was cool. Very serendipitous how that happened. There was a thread or multiple threads on the app next door,
Okay.
and someone who had been posting on that on one of the threads um, messaged me and said her friend, who's a reporter with NBC, wanted to cover the story, so we connected. So I literally woke up from, I was having like a very hot, groggy, kind of not that fulfilling nap, and then woke up to this message, and I was still kind of spacey, and within a couple hours, then I was interviewing with them. So it was really, it's just really interesting how the universe works, and how things come out of the blue.
Uh-huh.
And it's almost like as soon as you have time to start planning it, it changes. So, because there were like other plans to put some media in, have some media focus on it, but that didn't go through, at least yet, that we
Yeah.
know. But who knows? If that happened, it'll probably be when I least expect it. It's really interesting like that. So
Yeah.
um, I will say that I've never put so much focused attention into making them. So that is one lesson that comes through, is that when you really, I've been doing this, right, almost 3 decades or so, but when you really put focus, then comes back, and it resonates and reverberates more powerfully.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like that it's such a pure, like sort of joyfoil thing that you that you wanted to do. It's like it didn't sound like you had much of like a 5-year plan for, for foiling. It was just like, this sounds like a fun thing to do right now, and then, watch what happens.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it was just around June or July. I started thinking that'd be nice to do something like in August, to like make it a thing to do, and yeah, it wasn't that planned out. So
That's really
um,
sweet. I love
yeah,
that.
but
And
it is. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, but like guerrilla sculpture and putting artwork up in random public places is its own art that you cultivate over time. Like, and you start to understand like optimal placement so that like they'll stay around longer, and um, what time of day to go to what kind of places for you not to get kicked out, or also you definitely learn, and it does, like, you do develop like an intuition around it for sure.
So tell me about that process. Are you creating like an assembly line of these creatures, and then you're trying to figure out where to put them, or do you kind of create one at a time?
Yeah, so usually I bring the roll of foil with me, and as I'm walking, I'll make them. Yeah. So there's been like, and I've gone on some very long walks in the last few weeks.
With a lot
Like,
of foil.
yes. Like sometimes like a 4 hour walk or something, I'll get back at midnight or one, or, usually not that late, but sometimes. And I would, before I was walking in the morning and in the evening, but it's been too hot to walk during the day past few
Right.
days, so focusing on the evening. And yesterday I put some around, there's a Pico Robertson area that I hadn't really touched yet, and um
That's so
because
funny
it
you
was hot.
just said that.
Oh, is
Oh,
that?
that's where my dad's buildings are.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So yeah, you should ask him. You should ask him if he's seen any. So
I'm pretty
that's
sure it's definitely Robertson. I don't remember the cross street, but that sounds about right.
in
Anyway,
that area. That's really
in that
that's
area.
really perfect. So that's the kind of
Yeah.
serendipity. Like these foil characters literally they create their own stories that are way more aligned and in tune than anything I could conjure up. So, um, but I put so that when I went there, I had been making them all day, because like whenever I would take a break or if I was listening to something, um, I would be making while I did it, and so I did bring like 2 shopping bags full of foil, people, and that's how. But usually, 90% of the time I make them as I go.
That's so fun. So do
It's
you
really fun.
do, it,
Mhm.
do you ever incorporate anything besides the foil, or is it always
Mm.
foil?
In front of our house, there's one I did with pipe cleaners, but
Okay.
yeah, but 99% of the time it's foil. I have been thinking. So it took me like, only just started putting hands on them like 10 years ago, which I've been making them for a while without
Only
hands.
10.
I know it felt interesting to say that out loud, but I've made them without like fingers more often than than more often than not. But the last 10 years, I was like, oh, I can do hands. And then now recently, the next step, I'm kind of, because I have kind of figured out how to do a face, but I'm wondering like what I could do for eyes. I don't want to use googly eyes, mainly because they're just like, do you have an idea?
Could you do like a hot glue gun squirt?
Oh, I could try
You
that.
could do like an indentation, like an eye socket kind of thing, and then like a little squirt of the. Well, I mean, you could just use the hot glue also as a medium for putting something else there too. But um,
Yeah. I could try. Well, I could stick. I mean, that's something that I'm open to ideas. So I'm like, the thing
I
that
like
keeps
hot glue.
coming into my head, what's that?
I like hot glue, but it is kind of messy. I'm not sure if you could get like a actual circle with it, but
Right.
sphere.
I keep thinking of Black Eyed Peas. I don't know. It seems like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I think I'll just have to experiment. But I mean, the interesting thing is they're very like impressionistic. So even if I don't detail a face, people very often see like, wow, look at how he did the face. And so it's this little secret that I often don't focus on the face that much. But it could be that, I mean, people see muscle system. I mean, I've been doing it for so long too. It could be that my hands are doing something that I'm not necessarily thinking of that much. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? So I don't really know, but I don't put a lot of at least aware attention onto the face. But yeah.
That's so cool. So you feel like they always turn out kind of different, or are you surprised by the shapes that you come up with, or?
I think they all have their own kind of personalities and body structures and characteristics. I have a way I usually make them. But it's not, I'm not meticulous or precise about the measurements.
Uh-huh.
So I think they're all a little different. And sometimes if I'm using like a heavier grade foil, they'll tend to be bigger, and lighter, they'll be a little smaller. Um, yeah, I think they're all a bit different, even though I use the same kind of formula to make them. It's kind of been like, speaking of, we play music together. I used to feel like it was kind of limiting. That is like this like repetition, but now it feels like it's like a sculptural mantra. It's like you keep
Ooh, I like
do it's like you just repeat it over and over, and like even the positionings are the same. But if it's a cool position, then like yeah, you can repeat it, and
right,
it has meaning. It
right.
doesn't feel redundant in that way.
Well, and it's always going to be, you're always going to be making it at a different time, and you're going to be putting it in a slightly different place, even if it's like the same tree. So, I mean, it is, if you're the more finely tuned your perception, the more different it might feel, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and each one feels like they do each feel like unique. Like, and if I'm on a walk and I put some up in an area and I see them, it's like, I don't know, it just like it brings out the kid in me. It delights the kid in me, and it doesn't feel like it's like oh like that's, and then I even like back to going like yeah, see you, you know.
Do you ever go back and like and take them out of the places that you've put them? Like, do you go
Oh
collect them,
gosh,
or?
yeah, this is kind of interesting. So sometimes if I'm on a walk in the same area and I see one needs like a little bit of touch up, I'll do
Uh-huh.
that. On the Next Door app, we have people in our neighborhood who also have been doing that. And it's really sweet. And then here's a really funny story is that, um, and this has been one of the, if they hear this, I hope they know this has been one of the most interesting and fun like things to happen this month so far. So because so my next door neighbor um, has a teenage son who has a friend. There's a young woman who lives down the block somewhere, and she was apparently all I was noticing that my next door neighbor was aggregating a ton of them in front of their house, and they were really nicely arranged. And I had not put any up in front of them. So, and I was noticing that they were going missing from some other areas. So, and it just happened to be that the only house with this many was my next door neighbor, and I don't think they knew it was me doing it either. So
Oh,
it was
that's
really
funny.
funny.
That's really
Yeah,
funny.
it's just again they really have they create their own reality. These little figures. Um, so I did send a note, and I said I did encourage her to like maybe put some up and not not aggregate as many in one place because I wanted them to be more dispersed.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think they were a little bit shy about it, but I thought it was cool. So, I mean, that's just, if you're putting something out there in public like that, then that's just part of the art form, is the risk that you take knowing that anyone can do anything with it. And part of
Sure.
the interesting thing is knowing is like people have very different like notions of what's appropriate. And it's funny. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm not to say what way is wrong or right, you know?
It it seems like a really cute, and I think that that was kind of what the news coverage was about, if I'm not mistaken. But it's kind of this like communication with people in this time when we're not, you know, in contact with people as much.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels kind of like like an inside joke kind of, because there's something kind of intimate and unique about it, but also a lot of people can see it. And it's
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, there's something special that it does feel like it helps people connect a little bit. And I think we're a little bit, I don't, probably not a little bit, we're this has all been, you know, just to a greater or lesser degree, this has all been really traumatizing these months.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not just a little bit. I mean, think we're gonna have to navigate a lot, and we're gonna see that whenever like it wraps up, we're gonna see when what the rollout is and navigate it consciously. So in the meantime, you know, like you've been putting music out, that's amazing. That brings people together. I think as much as we can put out from the heart is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I loved your latest, or the latest one I saw anyway, cartoon about um, living in a world whose main, I can't remember what the exact word was, but the main focus of it wasn't
Oh, it's
healing
trauma.
trauma. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really love your cartoons, and I anxiously await the coffee table book that I will place in my living room.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's more. I'm working on. Should I talk about that now? Because you
Yeah,
mentioned.
yeah, yeah. Talk about anything. We don't have to.
No. Okay, cool. This is fun. What did you? So I did. Did you get? Did I send you a copy of the drawings book?
Oh, yeah, I bought two.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Yeah, I
so
really.
that's been fun to put out, and then this month, I'm putting out a it's a similar kind of format, but it's for grown-ups. It's a grown-ups book.
Uh-huh.
And it's called Locker Room Talk.
Oh,
And
oh, yeah. I've seen
yeah,
those memes. Those are great.
yeah, yeah. So that's gonna be really fun. And then I have a couple other children's books I'm working on, but the
Oh,
Locker Room Talk is gonna be the next one that I put up hopefully this month or early next. Yeah,
oh, that's so cool. That's
yeah.
exciting. Yeah, they're so great. They're so they're what they're disruptive of the main messages that the main messaging that's coming out. I just really like it, especially the locker room talk. Actually, that's like the response to the toxic masculinity thing. That's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
exactly.
it's so timely. It's such a nice.
Yeah, it felt really good. It felt really good to put together, and it felt like the right time to do that. And yeah, might even submit it in the next couple of days. Yeah.
How do you do that? You do that through Amazon, or do you have like a publisher that you're using?
Yeah. So it's called Ingram Spark or Lightning Source,
Okay.
and they have a self-publishing platform. Now they put stuff on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and a few other retailer sites. But I was thinking for this one of not putting it up on those sites and just making it available through my website.
Hmm.
And that's for different reasons, but I think that feels good for now.
Yeah. You can create a PDF too and have it available, like just sell it digitally too, so that you don't.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
idea.
I haven't done the other part of what you, but I did like a poetry book a couple of years ago that's just
Mhm.
available on my website, and I only sell it digitally. I haven't figured out how to like get
Oh,
anyone to print it. So
yeah. Well, if you want to self-publish it, Ingram Spark is really good,
I'll
and
check that
I
out.
can send you. Yeah, it's really pretty easy to use. So
That's cool. Yeah, it's
yeah,
so fun how many things one can do on one's own these days.
it is. It's really cool.
I just made a book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just released music. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a pretty cool um, sharing paradigm. Thank
it's
God.
amazing. Yeah,
Thank God, because we can't like interact in person or go. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you're publishing books and you're making JOYFOIL and you're making your delicious carob bars, and is there anything else?
oh, let me think.
We haven't talked
Well,
about your carob bars actually, but go. You could talk about that if you
well, I am like, I'm practicing music. Obviously, I haven't been performing. I did a couple playing on my porch
want.
this
Oh,
past few weeks.
nice.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still playing my instrument. I was just feeling today, really miss playing with people.
Yeah.
Um, and I miss playing with my wife a lot. She's in, she's been in Europe since March,
Oh,
because just
wow.
yeah, she
Oh, I didn't
flew
realize
out.
that.
Yeah, just before the lockdown started, just before uh, Denmark closed the border. Uh, she flew over there, like got a last minute ticket when she saw things were starting to close down, and there she has been pretty much.
Wow.
So
That's
I'm looking to go over there in like September,
okay.
and yeah, so that's been I think part of. I have been pretty creatively productive, and it is partly I am filling a vacuum.
Yeah. No, I get that because my kids have been gone for almost 2 months now, and
Mm,
it's been like part exhilarating and part like just really hard. So yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of free time.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. So yeah, yeah. Any other questions? I can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, what I don't know, what else are you up to? It doesn't have to be anything particular. I just like
Yeah,
talking with people.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, you mentioned the Cara bars. I'm
Oh
kind
yeah.
of yeah. Uh, I am kind of excited for the next stage of that. Because which is getting it's going to still be compostable packaging, but it's going to be pre-printed.
Okay.
Because right now there's about 6 steps to hand packaging the bars,
Uh-huh.
and it's very meditative, but it's very like it's really work intensive.
Hmm.
So if we have a pre-printed sleeve, it's literally gonna cut the time down by maybe like it'll be like 1/10 of what it is now,
Oh, that's nice.
which means like that's many hours of my time um, that will no longer have to be going towards that,
Yeah.
and I find my own way of enjoying it, and I get into a rhythm. But now I'm like, okay, it's time to focus a little bit, and
Yeah. Well, and you can make more.
I can make more. Yeah, I can make it a bigger thing, so that will be good. And yeah, we might change the molds too, but first we're going to change the packaging because that's going to cut the time down. And
Okay.
we moved to a new kitchen in Fullerton,
Oh,
'cause,
cool.
and it's really nice. It's a really nice space. The woman who runs it, she's been making pasta there for 32 years, and she also rents it as a shared kitchen. She really,
Oh, neat.
yeah, she really runs a tight ship. It's very clean, and it's just the other place we were producing it was fine, but this is like really just a higher quality location, and it feels better to make them there. So
That's so cool. Where are you shipping them mostly right now?
yeah, right now all over. I mean, in terms of stores, most 75% of the stores we're at are in Southern California, but like right now I have outgoing stuff. Great Basin Co-op in Nevada, place in San Marcos, Texas, one place in Naples, Florida,
That's so cool.
um, Santa Cruz, and then a bunch of LA stores. One Oak Park near Chicago,
Uh-huh.
and then we have personal orders through our website too.
Hmm.
Um, and I've been focusing more on my time towards being able to serve people directly, especially during the pandemic. The store orders, I think the stores were focusing on like staple foods,
Hmm.
and so because we're not, we kind of the business slowed down with the stores a lot.
Mm.
So yeah,
They're they're so good.
I think so too.
I
I
love
think they're
them.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was ordering some for our yoga studio, as you know,
yeah,
which I don't live anywhere near anymore. So I
yeah,
don't do that. And I'm not even sure if they're open, but well, that's another thing. But
yeah.
yeah, I was just thinking about how delicious they were the other
You're in
day.
Seattle now, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're not selling anywhere in Seattle, so if you knew a
Ooh,
place.
yeah. There's PCC that's close to me. It's a co-op.
Oh, I think I've reached. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you wanna, yeah, it's better when customers reach out to the stores than we do, because then,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll talk to them next time I'm in there.
Okay,
Sure.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do.
Yeah. It's fun to find stuff that's like that doesn't have that doesn't have any sweetener in it. Um,
Yeah, and it's really rare. It's really rare. Honestly, there's so I think it's this is from a friend who is also in the food industry. Basically, the three things that the most like common additives in mass-produced foods. It's processed sugar,
salt,
salt, and caffeine.
caffeine is the one of the most popular things is added to food. That's
Well,
crazy.
that's what she said. Oh, now you're making me second guess it, but I think it could be.
Drinks, maybe in
I
drinks.
think it's in the drinks. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's like in beverage because
But
she
that
was.
sounds, I mean, when you think about the types of sodas and things that are out there, I would, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And people drink a lot of soft drinks,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's nice to make something that doesn't have that stuff in it. And then
Yeah.
really what I'm doing now is working on continuing the handmade process and quality that we have, and also making the process more efficient and streamlining it so I can go be with my wife.
Yeah. Oh, did,
Which is great. I
yeah,
wouldn't, I mean, I wouldn't actually, honestly, I wouldn't have that impetus to be more efficient were
sure.
it not for that challenging dynamic. So that's the other side of life.
Yeah, absolutely. There, yeah. Sometimes we think we need to fix things in order to get things done.
Yeah.
I like that. I was just looking at the map because I was curious to see where Pico and Robertson was.
Okay. It's very close to Yoga West.
Yeah, so that is near where my dad has his.
Oh, I wonder if it was. I put up a lot last night. I took
That's
a
really
walk with a
cool.
friend. Yeah,
Well,
I
actually,
put up.
funny enough, there's a strip. It's right on the exit there
Yeah.
of the Robertson exit off the 10, but there's a
Okay.
strip club right next to it. Just can't miss it.
Oh, it has a huge billboard. I've never. I
Yeah.
don't. It's not the kind of place I have ever gone, but I do know what you're talking about because it's a very
Yeah. Well, I know
ostentatious.
because when they were going in, I had friends who attended the high school, Hamilton, and also my dad, and then like a few other business owners around there. They didn't want the strip club going in, so they were like, attending meetings and whatever. It got put in. But what I always thought was funny was I would drive to Sadhana in the morning, and I would get off at the Robertson exit to go to Yoga West, and I would be driving by just as the strippers would be coming out of the club. So I always thought, like, what an interesting, like, parallel dynamic going on here.
Yeah.
That you're,
Wow.
like,
Yeah,
your
many
day is ending,
worlds.
my day is beginning, like, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. It makes me think, actually, it reminds me of the foil characters. Because yeah, there's something kind of universal about them, where like, my wife asked the other day, and we'll pray that this remains, that people understand and feel the intention. But she asked, she said, no, so no, you haven't pissed anyone off yet? I said, no, not recently. I was kicked out. This was like 7 years ago. I was kicked out of the LACMA a couple times.
Okay.
For them, okay.
Like out of, like, you were inside the museum, you mean? Like putting your foil.
Okay. All right, that kind of
this.
fun stories. Yeah, so I was, the first time I went at about midnight to the lamppost, and I brought one of those long poles that you use for light bulbs, on the ceilings, and I started hanging them up on the lampposts. And the security guard told me I had to leave. He did admit that they were cool, but he said he couldn't let me do it. And I did suggest, well, maybe you could just like take a nap, he said he couldn't let me stay and do it. And then another time, it was during one of their, this was the most, it's the worst when you get misunderstood, because there was a woman at the concession stand during their jazz afternoons, one of the jazz afternoons. And again, this is like 7, 8 years ago, but I put, like, whenever she and her colleague would like turn away, like I would walk by and put a foil person on the stand, and then I would go with my friend and just watch their reactions from across the plaza. And each time they were really surprised, and they would look at it, and they were like, "Who's doing this?" And they would take it down. And this happened, like, I don't know, it could have happened half a dozen times or more. And then at some point, I saw her manager, this guy, she'd tell her the manager, and she wasn't overly distressed, it seemed, but then he caught me. And he told me I had to leave, and he was really pissed. And then I saw the person there a few days ago, because I felt, because actually the word he said, "You're harassing her," and so yeah, so I actually felt awful, and it didn't seem to be what I had observed. But a few days later, I was there and I saw her, and I said, "I wanted you to know I'm the person who's doing that." And she said, "Oh, cool. I took them home." I really like, so it seemed like, man, he was just doing his job, I guess. But I'm glad that it didn't seem that they had any ill effects.
Yeah. Well, they're not, clearly offensive. They're not like, giving you the finger or like spelling something nasty out. So
Exactly.
They're playful.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess it depends on your sense of humor too.
Exactly. And if you gotta like manage a tight ship and a bunch of things to take care, I can get stressed out about that. But they do kind of like de-escalate things. Like, I think if I were like me, especially me looking how I look, I think if it weren't such a like cute medium, I think I would get into a lot more trouble, actually, because people see me and they're like, "What's this guy doing?" And then they see this little like doll, and like, what are they gonna do? It doesn't deface property. It's like, it's actually, it takes like more energy to like try to chastise me than to just take it off if you want.
Right,
so
right.
so that's kind of an interesting component of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I always, that's always an interesting debate too. I mean, you're not defacing property, but there is some guerrilla artwork that does.
Yeah.
And it's such an interesting argument for me. Like, is it, vandalism
Mm.
versus artwork, especially when something becomes really popular and maybe they've actually like increased the value of your property. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is interesting, and even with these little people, like I do kind of appreciate there's like a question of authority because there are people who ask me like, am I allowed to move them? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, believe it or not, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm not gonna do anything to stop you. And I like them to be. I put them where I put them for a reason, but I'm not particularly offended if they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and like different when I used to put them up in. So it was college during finals week. I used to put a ton. That's when I would make a whole ton in my apartment, and then I would go put
in
them.
addition to studying, Oshri.
Oh yeah, right. So yeah,
That's so funny.
um, I did what I had to do. I got what I had to do, but I would put. But everyone, as you know, um, finals week during college, the stress is so unhealthy
Yeah,
and
yeah,
intense,
yeah.
and it's like it's pretty awful. So I would put a whole bunch of them out, and then when I was there, I would make greater efforts to be secretive. So people like only my handful of my friends knew that it was me doing it, and that was fun because then what I would do is I would go around and like during the day I'd ask people and I'd pretend like I was just like shocked. I'd be like, "Do you know what's going on? Like, who's doing this?" Just so I could hear like all the theories that people were like the rumoring around, and like there's some people. There's someone who thought like the university was paying an artist to do this to like cheer them up during finals. I think that was my favorite
Oh,
theory
that's
ever. Yeah,
cute.
yeah, that would have been nice too. I wouldn't have. But yeah, there's all these different theories, and so it's kind of fun. They really have a life of their own, and I guess I don't. Maybe because I don't know. In the time of social media, it's kind of hard to keep things secret like that. So I figure I may as well just use the digital medium but people usually it's not like I don't put like any tag on them or anything now, so there
Yeah,
usually is an element of mystery
yeah.
because I'm not like well known or anything, so
Yet.
so and then the other fun thing is, and I actually I will nominate you but
Okay.
but like nominating people to make them and post
Uh-huh.
them.
Okay.
That's been super fun. Uh,
Okay.
and other people have like now have their own stories about putting them places and cheering people up, and that's been that'd be really that just feels so good when you feel like you've done something and it's become a part of someone else's day that enriches and brightens up someone else's day. That feels really cool. Um, to me, it feels it's something that I got from someone else too. So it feels like it's like sharing,
Yeah.
and
No,
like
I just had an idea. I had a really fun idea.
oh
So I
mhm.
want you to say that again, but instead of nominating me, you can nominate every single person that listens to this podcast.
Oh yes.
And then do you have like one of those videos that you made recorded that we could share with people so that they could see how you make it?
Oh, okay. So I have I don't have a video of it, a good video. I have a PDF.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
So I could share that if you have that somewhere on the internet. I could share the link.
Yeah, the link it's in my bio on
Okay,
Instagram.
cool. Okay,
There's like
cool.
a
So
link.
I will share that.
It's an opt-in, and then it sends it automatically to their email. So
Perfect. Okay,
yeah.
sweet. So nominate everybody.
Okay, yes, I nominate everyone listening to this podcast right now to make a foil person and put it somewhere in your neighborhood or in your home and watch the magic happen.
I love it. Okay, cool. Oh, and could we also
Mhm.
make
Yeah,
everything post a picture after you do it, hashtag JOYFOIL.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of course,
Okay.
yeah.
That's part of it?
So, yeah,
Okay.
so do you want me to say like the beginning part first, or should I just
Well,
say
that's
that?
okay. I'll put it, I mean, yeah, go ahead. You can say the whole thing in if you want people to get it clearly, but I'll write the whole thing in the description so it's real clear.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so I nominate everyone listening to this podcast featuring Porter Singer. I nominate you to create a foil person, and she will direct you to instructions, simple instructions for how to do that. And then once you do and create some magic in your home or neighborhood, I encourage you to post it on your social media and hashtag JOYFOIL. And 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 then nominate someone else you know who might have fun doing it, and just see the magic happen, because these creatures really create their own stories and realities beyond anything that I could conjure up or try to have any kind of sane intellectual directive surrounding. Like they're just like whimsical beings of their own, and it's super fun. And they're also, they give a chance of being, because of the medium, they give us a chance of being totally non-self-critical. So if you don't consider yourself artistic or artsy or whatever, like this is equally awesome for you, because um, they're just like very forgiving. It's a very forgiving medium, and it's just as much or more about where and how you place it somewhere, than as actually feeling like you sculpted something that's should be subject to someone's scrutiny,
Yeah.
even your own. So
Oh,
yeah.
I like that. That's really sweet. I recently thought that about humming, that people feel like intimidated about singing, but people don't tend to criticize their humming voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's like that. And it's
Yeah.
because there's some like fuzziness to it that's not threatening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so maybe it's a good gateway. It's
Uh-huh.
a good gateway
It's
to
a
being
gateway
creative. And
art drug.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and it has been really fun, because these are really, I think we're living through a really interesting condensation of an era. And it's like, just to remember, like, oh, whimsicalness, fun, silliness,
Mhm.
creativity, joy is really fun. And seeing on NBC, just hearing the reporter who's like just talked about a whole bunch of important and really serious things, and then say, an artist putting tinfoil and joy foil. It's just really like, it feels like, I feel really lucky to be part of something that's like different than this vibration of like stark heaviness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, and it is literally very light.
it is
Yeah.
literally like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Tinfoil,
yeah,
the non-dense art supply.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it is kind of okay, it is sort of poetic in that one, right? They're reflective, literally. They
Mm.
reflect everyone who looks at them from different angles. They have different planes and angles of reflection that are reflecting different angles depending on how someone's looking at it, which is like very much like reality.
Yeah.
And then there's also like to make them. Okay, I'll give you like a tip
Okay.
for putting them or for creating them. Like they tend to look more alive because right, tinfoil doesn't respond to gravity in the same way something with more mass does, right? So you actually have to put the gravity in. You have to like put it into the structure and how it's relating to its position and form. You put a sense of gravity and weight of the different limbs and how they're moving. And that's what makes them come to life. Is actually you're forming an illusion of a relationship to gravity that's not there. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Think about that one, y'all.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh, it's so fun talking to you. Thank you for doing this.
It's really, this went by super fast,
I know.
actually. Wow.
And we talked about tinfoil.
Yeah. Well, wait till we talk about saran wrap. We'll really get going.
It's the next episode.
That parchment paper, we won't even go there.
Ooh, won't even get me started. That's awesome. But I'm definitely gonna do this. I think I'll have my kids and we can do it. We can post some pictures, and yeah,
Awesome.
when the podcast comes out, that'll be fun. I'd like to see the stream of hashtags.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
That'll be so cool.
Cool. All right. Well, have a great day and say hi to Fiola from a distance for me. And
I will. Yeah. Really good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Awesome.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye. Bye.